for having me.
So your role involves monitoring the sun in real time. Can you talk a little bit about what you do?
Yes, of course. So what we do is we basically observe, model, analyze, and then we document it. And so what we're observing is usually those coronal mass ejections, or as I lovingly like to call them, sun burps. And we're measuring those, seeing where they go, and then we're modeling them to see what NASA missions or possible planets they impact. And then from there, we're documenting it and notifying NASA missions about potential impacts.
And so we just learned a little bit about NASA's space weather program. How does monitoring space weather affect the everyday person?
Yeah, so most of the time the everyday person is going to see it in terms of northern lights, but what we do also see is some of that impact to the GPS as you're navigating. Sometimes it'll be a little wonky and you don't really know why, but that could possibly be due to some solar storming happening. And then we may also see some impacts to agricultural folks who are using tractor precision farming.
And so back in 2024, we saw these huge solar storms. Can you tell us how that storm affected Earth and if we had to mitigate any of those effects?
Yes, so along with NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center, we did have to do some mitigation, but honestly, my favorite part was seeing the northern lights. And so 2024 is when I first got to see the northern lights. I saw them in August, and then you're seeing a picture that I took on my phone where we saw them here in Maryland, which was absolutely incredible. And you can see a picture of the team that I work with, the Moon to Mars Space Weather Analysis Office, along with some of the Heliocomms folks, where we got to see it down here in Maryland, which is absolutely incredible.
Amazing. And so I know that you were also part of the team that monitored space weather 24/7 during the Artemis 2 mission when we flew astronauts around the moon. What was that experience like?
Surreal. I mean, it's very odd to be staring safely at the sun via satellite imagery, but not see it in person for an extended period of time, because I was working the overnights, but it was incredible, and I loved seeing the solar eclipse from space. I think if I were to do it, I'd want to be one of those astronauts.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Karina.
Thank you.
So next, let's hear from NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman and Head of NASA Science, Nikki Fox. My colleague Jasmine Hopkins caught up with them a few days ago to talk about why this celestial event is so important and what the 2026 eclipse can teach us about the sun.
Today, I'm thrilled to talk all things eclipse with NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman, who's leading our vision behind science and why eclipses are so important, and Dr. Nikki Fox from our Science Mission Directorate, who will tell us what exactly is going on with the sun during an eclipse. Are you guys ready to talk?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Our opening question is for both of you. Just a couple months ago, we wrapped up the historic Artemis 2 mission, and now we're on the cusp of a total solar eclipse. Can you describe in one word how you're feeling right now?
Excited?
He took my word.
Oh.
Excited is the right word, because when you saw that total solar eclipse from Artemis 2, it was so spectacular and nobody was ready for it, even people who see total solar eclipses all the time. And so when you saw that, it just brought the beauty of space and the beauty of the science we do into such clarity.
I think NASA is one of the only places where we can see a solar eclipse from down here on Earth and then from the other side of the moon.
We study the sun all the time. It's one of our main things that we study in NASA science. We look at it in all different wavelengths. We look at it from all different vantage points to be able to predict when these really large radiation storms are going to come towards our planet, because we want to make sure our astronauts are safe. The eclipse just gives us even more opportunity to study that sun just a little bit more, to really make those big breakthroughs to keep our astronauts safe.
All right, next is for both of you. If you could witness a solar eclipse from anywhere on Earth, where would you choose?
Anywhere that doesn't have clouds. Having been clouded out for the last eclipse, I will say I will go anywhere that there's no clouds.
Look, Iceland is very cool in Spain, a lot of the observation locations for this one, but in Egypt, in the Valley of the Kings, is going to be an amazing backdrop.
And that is going to be the longest total solar eclipse of the 21st century. It is over 6 minutes. To stand in somewhere ancient is particularly moving.
What's the one thing you want people to walk away understanding about why studying eclipses matters?
I think these kind of magical events, I would very much describe that eclipse as a magical event. maybe creates a spark in who knows how many people around the world to look up, imagine what's possible, and then grow up and start contributing in this great adventure that we're on.
Remember that Einstein confirmed his theory of relativity using an eclipse.
El 12 de agosto de 2026 ocurre uno de los fenómenos astronómicos más impresionantes del año, un eclipse solar total. El fenómeno se produce cuando la Luna se interpone entre la Tierra y el Sol y, en determinadas regiones, llega a cubrir completamente el disco solar durante unos instantes, dejando visible su corona. Sin embargo, el eclipse solar total del 12 de agosto no es visible desde México. Para seguir el fenómeno desde territorio nacional, es necesario recurrir a transmisiones oficiales o retransmisiones autorizadas disponibles a través de plataformas digitales. La trayectoria de la totalidad cruza regiones de Groenlandia, Islandia, el norte de Rusia y España, además de una pequeña zona de Portugal. Entre otras partes de Europa, África y Norteamérica, el eclipse puede observarse únicamente de manera parcial. España es uno de los puntos de mayor interés para observar el fenómeno, debido a que distintas regiones del país se encuentran dentro de la trayectoria de la totalidad y el eclipse ocurre cerca del atardecer. Aunque las diferentes fases del eclipse se desarrollan durante un periodo mucho más amplio, la totalidad es muy breve. Para la mayoría de los lugares dentro de su trayectoria, dura menos de 2 minutos. Durante esos instantes, el cielo se oscurece, la temperatura puede disminuir y la corona solar se vuelve visible alrededor de la silueta de la Luna. Para quienes se encuentran en las regiones donde el eclipse puede observarse, hay una recomendación fundamental: nunca mirar directamente al sol durante las fases parciales sin protección adecuada. La observación requiere lentes especiales diseñados para eclipses y certificados para este propósito. En México, la alternativa para presencia